and welcome to another episode of
Absolute Game of Nerd!
All right, today we have another great guest, another great collector. We have Brandon, aka at Tech Geek 200 on Instagram. I always know Brandon's post because he always has 2 books and a nice red wall right behind. I was actually wondering when you signed on if we'd have that red wall behind you today.
It's off to the side. I'll show you. Actually, show it to you. There you go.
There it is, the iconic red wall.
Yep. And
Love
then,
it. I always love when people I follow have like a consistent, like, their set of like, oh, I know who's posted it just by looking at it. But anyways, how you doing today, Brandon?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good.
Can you hear me? And can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you. We got you. Awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So let's kick this off. We always start with the same first question, and that is, what is your origin story? So how did you come to comics for the very first time, whether that's as a kid or as an adult? Talk to us about it.
All right. So I guess my earliest memory of getting comics was probably around 6 or 7 years old, maybe even 8. And I think it was the Defenders.
Oh.
Defenders or Invaders, one of those two. I can't remember the exact issue, but I fell in love with comics. Fast forward a little bit when Jim Lee hit in Uncanny. I didn't know about him then, but when he did X-Men, the first few issues of X-Men, I got everything. I went full bore into X-Men. Then I got into Spawn. Then I got into Amazing Spider-Man. I even did indies. I did Bone back in the day.
Okay.
Can't speak. Bone. Love Jeff Smith's work. Got very, very much into Bone. Read the whole thing. Even have like trade paperbacks around here somewhere. And just I kind of went back and forth with comics. I started off when I was younger, sort of collecting, but not really. And then I got into cards. I actually got into sports cards.
Yep.
And Ricky Henderson was like my favorite, George Brett, those kind of guys. So I was in the 80s. I was an 80s kid. So I was picking up like Topps, Fleer, Don Russ.
Mm-hmm.
My dad helped me put together 180 through 84 sets.
Wow.
So every Topps, Fleer, and Don Russ set. I have
some nice rookies in there.
Yes, exactly. And I just loved cards. Comics were always still kind of in the background. And then I think I got into girls. I got into sports. So then later, I think I ended up finally, I don't know, I think it was X-Men. I think honestly, X-Men 1 and subsequent issues, Superman, when the death of Superman, got into that. I was lucky and got into Miles Morales before he became big.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yep. So I have a first polybagged Ultimate Fallout 4.
You still have it in the poly bag?
I still have it in the polybag.
Ah, aren't you supposed to take it out because doesn't it make a crease down the middle?
I hear that, but I also think that a lot of people don't take it out of the polybag.
I don't understand how the bag makes the crease anyways. So
I mean, I've heard that it really does destroy them. It's like I have Superman 75 in the polybag.
The black poly bag.
Yes, still.
Oh, I've told this many times. When I was a child,
right?
I thought that black poly bag with the Superman emblem in like blood.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I remember like the comic store I used to go to as a kid. After it first came out, and then like you had to, when it was a back issue, they were selling it for like $100. I remember being like, dude, that comic is got to be the most valuable comic of all time.
He died.
Yeah, he died. It's iconic. And I also thought like the bag meant like it was even more valuable.
Right.
And then the black bag.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I also thought like, X-Men 1 was going to be worth a ton because it's a #1. And
and they did 5-6 different issues of the same #1.
Yeah, yeah, and now
Still sold 8 million copies.
totally, and super success, and we still love it to this day. But like,
Absolutely.
you can literally buy it now for the same price that it came out on the rack
In
then.
some circumstances, I mean, you know how that works, right? Just like with cards too.
Yeah.
Condition is everything.
Condition, yeah, print count. Yeah, and you have a similar transition. So JP was the opposite. Oh, and I should have mentioned before when we started. So for everyone that's wondering, JP had a work event come up, so it is just me flying solo tonight. But yeah, JP was the opposite, where he did cards, and that got him into comics.
Right.
Whereas you and I both started with comics, and then as we got older, I got more into sports, and then AKA more into sports cards.
Yeah.
Do you still have any of the books from your childhood, though?
Very, very few.
Mm-hmm.
I think some Justice League, some Green Lantern, because I got big time into Green Lantern. Because I really I went full bore into the whole Parallax storyline and the Kyle Rayner storyline. What else? And I think I have some this thing called Marvel's Saga. I had a first issue. I actually found the whole run at my local comic shop and picked it up just recently, maybe about a year ago. So
nice.
Yeah.
On your kind of first comics, I was also going to say, to this day, I still feel like I get mixed up between invaders and defenders. Like,
Right.
they're still very. I feel like, wait, they're different. No, no, yeah. But
There's,
yeah, so
the characters are so iconic though.
Yeah.
In both those books. Like Hulk is in
Defenders. Silver Surfer becomes a defender, and he's my favorite.
Right, and then you have like in Invaders, you have Namor. You have
Namor's the one parallel, right? He's the one in both,
right?
Correct? Yeah,
I think he's in both books exactly. And yeah, I don't know. I can't remember the cover. That's it's gonna someday. I'll probably remember it, but I've collected probably, I don't know. I have a good percentage of the Invaders run and the Defenders run. So
yeah. So talk to me then, like what got you back in now as an adult? Like, I mean, I follow you, obviously. You are all in on comics, at least it looks like it. So
yeah, no. I would say I had actually always been in comics.
Okay.
I think, God, how long ago? I would say I really got into it and got into Instagram in like 2019.
Okay.
Like 2018, 2019. My wife was like, you should check out Instagram. There's so much stuff going on Instagram and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't do Facebook that much. Why should I do Instagram? And honestly, this community welcomed me with open arms. Mikey Comics was one of the first. Rage Theo.
And this is all this is all back in 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolute. I remember a sale with watching a sale with Skeleton Key and Rage, and I think I picked up some books with both of them. And then Rage even said, "Hey, call me. I've got other books to check out." And he sold me like more X-Men, I think, offline kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool. And I think Golden Age Guru, I got into some of his shows because he had a lot of IG shows back in those days. This is probably all right around when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And I would say I've been really into it since probably 2018, 19.
It's funny, right? Like so JP's kind of similar, where we both started at the tail end of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And I started on my own, and I would buy, and I was like, this is really cool. This is really fun getting back into. But had I not made the decision, which I don't even know how, I was just like, I don't really have any friends in like my 3D life that I can talk to about comics, like at least collecting them.
Okay.
And I was like, there's got to be people on Instagram that do this, a lot. And so I'm just gonna make an Instagram feed. And then you get kind of like entered into the community, like you said, and just kind of get wrapped up in it. And I've told people this before, like if it wasn't for that, I probably would have just like done it for a couple months and been like, all right, that was fun, now on to the next. But now it's just like doubled, tripled down the experience and then the enjoyment and all of it. It's just like amplified it to a whole new level. Now it's just it's just the best. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, like, like I said, like I popped into people's lives, as in their IG lives,
Yeah.
and they were just so welcoming. Like Mikey's probably one of my best friends now, like
Hmm.
offline. Like I text him like all the time, like through Instagram mostly. But Rage, I talk to him offline all the time.
Yeah.
And Funhouse Comics, his name's Mike, I think. He and I talk quite a bit too. So yeah, it's cool as hell. I mean, there was a con that was supposed to happen in Las Vegas, and they canceled it. But my friends were coming to it, and that was Mikey. It was Mr. B's Comics,
Hmm.
and Newsstand, and Poyo Comics, and they all met in Vegas and like had a weekend. I unfortunately couldn't go with them because I had to work that week, and also my car died, so I was having like I'm sitting there talking to them back and forth about on IG, and they're sending me stuff, and it's just like, yeah. But we're definitely gonna meet up at some point for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same thing with like JP and I. Like we've still never met. We've done the show now. This is episode 54 for so we're 2 weeks past the year, and we still haven't met. And but I mean that's what's great. Like it still works. It just
Right.
works.
Right.
Um,
The technology is amazing.
yeah.
Like look at just the 5 years ago. Like we weren't doing. I mean, we were doing this kind of stuff, but it was choppy. It wasn't seamless like it is now.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
Wi-Fi and everything else has just really come a long way.
Yeah. I also think too, like before this kind of era that we're in now. Obviously, I wasn't collecting then, but like think how much like harder it was to find and hunt the books that you wanted, right? Like
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
you had to go to cons, you had to go to whatever show or stores local to you, and like I guess there was eBay. I guess it was eBay.
Yeah, yeah. No, there was eBay. In fact, that's actually how I got Ultimate Fallout 4. I actually got 1 through 6, I think, for like $20.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But I would say, yeah, like when I first, so I got into X-Men, and I think it was around, God, that was a long time ago, in the 90s. I also got into the bad girl craze. She, Lady Death, Lady Rawhide,
Okay.
Vampirella, all that. I went hard into like, I had the whole thing of Lady Death, Witchblade. I got into Witchblade majorly. I had every issue of Witchblade. I met Michael Turner
Oh,
uh,
interesting.
twice. Awesome dude. Rest in peace. So sad when I found out about him. But he was just so genuine. And the second time I got to meet him, he looked at. I'm actually somewhat of an artist.
Hmm.
So I actually went to school for art. I went to the media arts and animation,
Okay.
the Art Institute of Phoenix.
Got
I'm not doing that, but
it.
that's what I went to school
You
for.
don't have a pseudonym. You're not like you're not a comic book creator. Like, oh my god, it's the same person.
Yes. I no. I'm either Tech Geek or Brandon. That's those
Okay.
are the two. Those are my two monikers, basically.
Actually, now that you brought that up, where's the Tech Geek 200 name come from?
All right. So, well, I'm a tech. I'm actually a computer tech. So I work for a school. I'm the only tech for that school,
Okay.
and I actually I've been doing IT for probably 17 years, something like that. When I first started in IT, it was funny because I went from being a help desk guy. So first off, I came out of college. I'm out of college. My dad's like, "You need a job, you know, you need a job." So hey, there's this guy. Talk to him, and go have this interview.
Wait, real quick. So you graduated with this art degree. You didn't
Yep.
pursue anything in that realm then?
No, no, I
Okay.
did not. The problem with art at that time for me was I had a family. I wanted to try to provide for them. So I didn't I wanted to do art, yes, but I didn't, I, I saw the difference of art and why, I couldn't be independent. I wasn't, I was with a family, so I couldn't really be independent. Whereas a
Totally.
lot of the people I went to school with were single and already, you know, they could do whatever they needed to do.
100,
They
yeah, totally, totally.
they could go, I have actual people that I graduated with who work for Pixar, who actually work for have worked on many different movies. Um, some worse than others and some better than others. Um, One that works on maquettes for like the the action figures and things like that. So I think I got scared
Yeah.
because I saw the talent level when I was in school, and I saw that, and I was older. That was another problem. I was much older than, I was like in my 30s when
Oh,
I
okay.
got done with school. So for me, I was a family person. I had a daughter, and then I had a son, just probably right around the time that I actually went into IT. I had my son. So he is 15, he'll be 16. So like I said, I've been doing IT around, 17 years or something
Hmm.
like that. Because I was there prior to him being born, but I had a different job. I had like a help desk job where I
Yeah.
was like a night crew person, and uh, was a job. It was just a job where I would sit there and watch systems and call people and do, printing and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
wasn't doing the IT portion of stuff. It was after when I got the job and my son was born. In fact, my son was born and I had to take 2 weeks off at my job because my son was born.
Yes, of course.
So, but I learned on the job. I learned on the job to do IT, like to take apart a computer, put it back together again, put motherboards in, all of that jazz. So
Nice.
that's where the tech comes from. The geek part, obviously, I'm a geek, uh, nerd, whatever you want to call me.
Yep.
And then 200, I think I tried 100 and it was taken. So I went with
So naturally we go to 200.
right. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
That
no,
is
love it. No, that's a great little background on you. And I totally you got a family to support, like that makes a lot of sense. But great. Let's no, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
yeah.
You said you got into the bad girl stuff. However, I don't recall you posting anything recently about bad. So have you now not into that genre anymore? Or are you, because
Correct.
I see the X-Men, I see the Spider-Man, that kind of thing still. So
I do pick up Witchblade occasionally. I have picked up like the first issue and gone back to that a little bit. I did Gen 13 also. Got very much into that. I don't know. I think I gravitated more toward artists.
mhm.
Like, so for instance, Michael Turner just blew me away. Like him, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Stephen Platt. I just posted actually just recently that Moon Knight run.
Mhm.
That that blew me away. Like when I saw that Moon Knight 55 issue, it was like, holy crap, this is cool. And his run on Moon Knight like turned me on Moon Knight. Like I
Okay.
had Moon Knight was not even on my radar before that,
Yeah.
which is crazy because now if I go back and I've collected stuff from Sienkiewicz,
So yeah, totally. Yeah.
which is just he is an amazing artist in his own right.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just like I think I just gravitated toward arts because I guess I understand the discipline it takes to do that.
Mhm. So let me ask then, are you, and this is nothing to be wrong, because I know JP's the same way. Do you then just get comics to appreciate the art, or do you actually read them?
A little bit of both.
A little both. Okay.
I would say I'm a collector, right?
Yes.
So I collect to collect the thing. And then there are things that I get into, like story wise. I really loved the 8 Billion Genies. I
Mm.
really got into that run. I really liked Middle West. That was another really cool one. Once in Future, I got into that one. I think a lot of times with some of the bigger books, I don't feel like I know where to start at.
Yeah.
So I just collected, not to really read it.
Got it. Question. So you really got into sports cards. You
Yep.
were an 80s kid, but you were collecting in the 90s. Did you ever get into the Marvel cards in the 90s?
Oh, absolute.
Yeah.
Absolute. In fact, I have a first Marvel Masterpieces,
Yeah.
the second Marvel Masterpieces.
So 1993.
Yep. And then I have Flair, the Marvel Flair.
Yep. 1994.
Then I also have the X-Men. So the first X-Men series
Hmm.
with Jim Lee. I have, what else do I have? The Fleer Ultra X-Men. Got
Yep.
into that one.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. That like,
Yeah.
because I totally get where you're like when you're like, I wouldn't know where to start because when we got into it, right? Like there was already 30 years,
Right.
20 years. Like, how do I
Yeah.
start? But with those cards, you just flip them over and
Right.
they gave you a history. And so then I just felt caught up and I knew what was what.
Right.
And I could just carry on forward, which was great for us. So that's why I was curious if you had that um, experience. So on that note,
Mhm.
as a collector, do you say you're a key collector, run collector? Because I've heard you say you have the whole run of this, whole run of that. Or are you both? How do you play that?
I would say, yeah, both. I actually love going after keys now more than runs.
Hmm.
I actually, in the last, I'd say 2 years, I picked up some major key books that I feel that I really wanted, like uh, Uncanny X-Men 229, First Kitty Pride, and
Hmm.
Emma Frost.
129.
I'm sorry, 129. Thank you. Um, and was it what's the Alpha Flight's first appearance also?
Is that
Uh,
120, 121? It's like the
yes,
cameo and then the full appearance.
I got the cameo,
Yeah.
which I need to get the first full appearance. Hulk 340 I finally got, and Wolverine 1. I have Wolverine 1 in a 9.4 slab, and
Nice.
I have the mini series. I actually have 2 copies of a newsstand edition.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is that do you when you collect, are you sticking kind of then we'll just say 80s and up, or do you go back into the vintage stuff?
I mean, I love the vintage stuff. I do have some old Fantastic Four during the Galactus type run, but not
Oh
quite
yeah.
when he showed up,
Hmm.
because those books are so expensive now. Um, in fact, I really should have picked up the Black Panther first appearance. I really wanted that book. Um, I should have got that years ago. I
I tell you what, that book is now, and it probably is because of Chad Boswick or Chadman Boswick died, and so people are like, oh, he's not going to be around. He's going to lose popularity. So that I saw a copy the other day for $250, and I was just like,
wow,
man, like that is a criminally undervalued key in my opinion. Like Black
absolutely
Panther is awesome, and he
yeah,
still is, regardless if he's on screen or not. He's awesome. Like,
right,
and his first appearance has like that's huge. And so like
yeah,
when I see it for 250, I own it already. I sent it to class like if you guys don't have this book, you need to buy this. This is a
right,
great deal.
right.
Yeah.
If I was in the position to buy that, I absolutely would. Right now,
Yeah.
not so much. Yeah.
Yeah. What so I feel like I see your posts
Yep.
and you'll post like and you're like, I got this week. So are you someone that regularly is buying comics? What's like kind of your pattern?
Um, I would say I don't really have a pattern these days. I've just been picking up stuff I really like, and stuff that keys to everybody, I guess.
Hmm.
Keys to me. I just like, I love like Thor. I love Hulk. Um, I actually just I love a lot of books. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to. I know at some point I'm getting to that point where I need to start maybe paring down stuff. I
Mhm.
really think about that. Maybe putting together like a full like X-Men run from like maybe 100 on, because some of those early books are just so expensive,
Mhm.
and they're just awesome. Amazing Spider-Man, I've picked up a bunch of like keys of that. Like I have Black Cat's first appearance, which I never
Yeah.
thought I'd get, which I love.
I
I
love
got,
that book.
yeah, it's such a cool book. And I have like second appearance of Punisher. I want a first appearance of Punisher. It's probably gonna happen next year, I would think.
That's
Uh,
another book too that I've seen 5 O's now that are
right.
under $1,000, and I'm like, "Man, this book has come down."
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh no, everything's come down, right?
yeah. Yeah, totally, absolutely, but, like, some of these ones, I'm just like, "How has it gotten this low?"
You know, I mean, I think that as far as I can see, I would say inflation is doing a lot of this.
Mhm.
I would say not having that movie cycle anymore,
Yeah.
so those characters aren't on screen. The MCU characters that we are getting haven't been as good,
Mhm.
and I think that we're in a cyclical thing, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's coming down. It's coming down. Now, it's not going to stay that way forever,
Mm-mm.
but 2024 is going to be a crazy year.
In terms of what? What do you mean?
It changes. There's going to be a lot of change. There's going to be a lot of change as far as economically.
In terms of them will be going up, going down, like, talking, what are you thinking?
I think it'll. I think they're even going to come down further.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I don't think we're at the bottom.
No, I don't think we're far from
Right.
it,
Right.
but I think we are not there yet. I would 100% agree with that.
Right. Right. And I think that a lot of people are still trying to hold on to those older prices too.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, if you go to a show, that's exactly what you see, you're like, "Guys, I hate to break it to you."
Yeah, you're not getting that. You're
Yeah,
not getting that. Yeah, it is a great time for buyers. It's just a
100%.
great time for buyers. And if I had more cash, that would be what I would be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your goals in terms of paring actually, let's start here. You said you're thinking about paring down. What size is your collection at now?
Oh my God. Very large. Um, you can see these.
Yep.
There are short box wise, I probably have at least 40 to 50 short boxes. And
Okay.
I have probably 18 to 20 long boxes.
So is the want to pare down a storage issue? Is it the wife needs me to clear out some room issue? What are we talking about here?
It's a little bit of both. And I think it's a factor of maybe I should start selling some of this stuff that I just don't care as much about anymore.
Yeah, and fund some of these bigger books that you want. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's just an evolution, and we've talked about this before on the show. Like, it's a
right.
natural evolution of all of us collectors, and we may progress in that evolution at a different pace.
Right.
But I think that's where we all get to. It's like you get to this point where like that was fun, but now I want something a little bit more fine tuned, or you can say.
Right. Yeah, oh, absolutely. I would definitely say that. In fact, I had my eye on a book right now at my LCS, and he's actually going to knock 25% off of it, which it's a cheap book. It's not expensive. It is X-Men #1, and it is the Magneto cover, but it's signed by both Chris Claremont and Jim Lee.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm definitely thinking about pulling the trigger on that.
Very nice.
Maybe a Christmas present for myself.
Yeah, I love it. No, that's great. Yeah, take you back, and yeah, those two. I mean, those two guys are two of the most influential creators of anyone in our generation, or anyone that's doing this now. So yeah, no, I think it's a.
I got to meet both of them actually.
I've met Claremont. I've not met Jim Lee.
Jim Lee is awesome, at least in my opinion. What's funny was I was following him either in Facebook. He actually was a Facebook friend for a while, and then I found him in Instagram and followed him there. And he's a metalhead.
Okay.
He likes System of a Down.
Hey, I like System of a Down.
He knows Surge. He knows Surge like personally.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So like I was talking to him about that, and I was talking to him about like his influences as far as like what influenced him to get into comics and what, you know, what styles he liked and stuff like that. So it was expensive to meet him, but
yeah, it is expensive. I've seen some of the prices, but great opportunity though.
It was so cool. And it wasn't even maybe, it was probably like 10 minutes, I think, but those 10 minutes were quality 10 minutes.
I just also say I don't know for a fact, but just the way I see you in frame, like on your post, I imagine you're a pretty tall guy.
I'm 6'2".
Okay, Ghibli is tiny, right?
He is.
Yeah.
He's a little tinier. He's a little tinier, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm a smaller guy too, and so like when I see the picture of Ghibli, I was like, oh yeah, he's a little guy just like me. So
he didn't have pictures. We wouldn't let you take pictures with him at this particular con. It was just a sign books and, you know, get to talk to him basically.
Yeah, that's great too. So going back, so you know, you're gonna pare down a little bit. Yeah, I think it's a great choice. Like that's kind of how I kind of got to that point where I wanted to pare down a lot faster, I would say. But that's exactly what I did. Like I used all that stuff that I no longer, you know, like quote unquote cared about as much, and traded and sold to get to bigger books that I want and enjoy much more. So let me ask you then, with the number of short boxes, you said we're talking in the thousands of ranges of books.
Yep.
When you buy, you know, you're on a Rage Theo claim sale once a week, let's just say you buy a book, it goes into the short box. Are you constantly one to like pull out short boxes and go through, or is it once it's there, it's kind of archived? Like what does that look like?
So I've actually started to kind of work on some of that. So I'm trying to, right now I'm looking for a book that I got from a claim sale or something that's a cool book, but I still haven't found it. I have a lot of stuff, and I need to just like a day. I need like a day to just do that, to just go through it. But I guess as far as my system, I do have written on my boxes, most of them, not all of them, what's in them. Like for instance, I'm looking at this one. It says Avengers, Spider-Man, Miles, and Hulk. That one has incredible. It has Immortal Hulk. It has Miles, and it has the regular Ultimate Spider-Man in it, and Avengers. And then the next one has Department of Truth, Once and Future, ASM. So that's the new ASM run, I think. So there's a few I need to go and change, but what I do is and at some point I think I want to do a little bit better filing system. I don't know if you ever seen Matt Woods. Have you ever seen Matt Woods? Oh my God. That man has the awesomest filing system for his books. And he has like these shelves that he made that are insane. It's really cool. Like it's all wood, and he has like a pull out like file cabinet type thing.
Is he a guy on YouTube?
Yeah, exactly.
Does he have like a room? It's like not huge.
No, it's very small.
And then is the wooden drawers, do they have like a window on it so you can see like okay, I've seen I think I've seen that specific guy, and I have seen other people with those drawers are sweet.
Yeah, he made all that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. I'm not a woodworking guy.
No, I would say if I even tried, it'd be a disaster.
I mean, I have done some wood stuff, but I need like a template. I need somebody there to help me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a tech. That's just not what I do.
Not only that, like even if I try, let's just say I had the template, it would still take me so long because I just don't have the skills to just be like zip, boom, boom, zip, 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 right? I'm just like, it'd be like, it's like I have a brother-in-law, and he's one of these he's one of these guys that like He can fix cars. He can
Oh,
fix
sure.
a heater, air conditioner, like all that stuff. That's just his thing, and that's not me. And
Wow.
so, like, you know,
Do you call him and say, "Hey, put those together"?
yeah, but like what annoys me is like my wife, like we'll get, you know, a piece of patio furniture, we'll just say, and I have to assemble it. And it'll take me, let's just say 45 minutes to assemble this couch, whereas like Jason, he could probably do it in like 15 minutes. And so my wife, you know, she's known him a longer than she's known me. And so she has, and like her father-in-law was also very kind of like inclined to that nation. So she's used to these guys that are more savvy in that realm. And so they put this together. And so it's like, every time it's like, I'm doing something, she's like, what's taking you so long? I'm like, it's not taking me long. I'm just not a whiz at this stuff. Relax.
Yep. I had the same experience with IKEA furniture. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just like, so now anytime now, like, it's like, can you do this? Like, I will do it, but I need you to just understand this could take me a little bit of time. So just let me
Right.
have it and I will do it. It'll be done. But
That's it.
yeah. Okay, so let's go back into, so you want to have a better archival system. But my point being is, if you did, would you find yourself being like on a Saturday afternoon, be like, oh, let me just flip through some boxes?
Absolute. I mean, I actually, so since I collected cards, I actually collected cards quite a while.
Mhm.
So I got into like the goats, like Hank Aaron and Ruth and Mantle, and in fact, I have a 65 set that I am working on.
There you go. There's your X-Men 1, we'll just say.
Right.
The original X-Men 1.
Right. And so my mantle, I finally got a mantle. It is like a 1. Unfortunately, it's
A
really
mantle is a
good.
mantle, man.
Exactly. The way I look at it, I'll upgrade it someday. But I'm about 95 cards short, and they're not huge cards. They're like, some of them are like a Rose, I think the Pete Rose that's in that set, and like maybe a Lou Brock or somebody like that.
Mhm.
Nothing huge. I got like the Catfish Hunter rookie. I have the Joe Morgan rookie. I
Yeah.
have a lot of the bigger cards of that set. And I have a Hank Aaron in a PSA 6.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
That
cool.
was actually the card that started me on that journey to put together that set.
Wait, so are you still then actively also collecting sports cards?
Yes.
Ah, you got a lot of, and then I was going to ask, because you've said you got an Ultimate or Miles Morales. You just mentioned the new ASM run. Are you even, you're doing the new, like, do you have a pull list at your LCS?
do.
What's
I
on
do.
that pull list?
Right now, Batman, Spawn, every iteration of Spawn, and all the like offshoots of Spawn. So like King Spawn, Scorched, those other ones.
I didn't even know there was that many spawns.
There's a ton of Spawn. And my LCS was like, hey, DC and Spawn are doing a thing where they're doing, all the covers are going to be Spawn covers. And all these different artists are going to do Spawn in their books. So it was a DC and Image thing that they did all Spawn. And I had that whole like thing. It was expensive as hell to put that together.
Yeah, I imagine. So let me ask you then, when you talk about paring down your collection to, you know, fine tune it more,
Right.
does that still include you maintaining that pull list at the comic shop?
I think that's something I definitely want to start working on, like paring that down even.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you then, what you have on your pull list, are you grabbing, flipping through, or are you reading those?
Some of it I read. A lot of it I just kind of store it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I think, yeah, there's an easy I think there's a natural then transition or evolution even to paring that down just based on that fact alone.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
I do 2 different LCSs.
Ah, wait, so give me a number, like what are we, is there like 10 books on the pull list, 15?
I'm gonna say around 20 probably.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. I would
Yeah,
say
we have a good buddy that we made, Nick. He actually has a podcast called Geekable, and he's into the modern stuff, and I think he said like his pull list is in the 30 to 40 range. And
God bless him.
he stays on top of it as best as he can, but even he falls behind, depending on work or whatever.
I think I also so at one point I got kind of in deep with my pull list. I was getting like all the offshoots. They would throw all the books, variants, all that stuff. And at some points I was spending like $300-$400
a month.
No, like every 2 or 3 months.
Okay, yeah.
Because I would let it accumulate.
Yeah.
And then I think what happened was the shop went under, and basically he probably had a stack of books this high for me. And basically he sold those all off online.
Huh.
And I think that's kind of when I got out of comics for a while. And that was during school. So I was in school. I couldn't afford to do school and that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of let that go. And I think around 20, I graduated in 06. So probably about 08, 09 maybe, I started back up again. But then another LCS that I was at, they went under, and they moved all of my pull lists to a different shop. And at that time I had like Deadpool, Amazing Spider-Man, maybe some Hulk, and little indie books that I can't remember, and a lot of X-Men. I was always into X-Men. I have a lot of X-Men. Like I have like not the old stuff, but I have the newer stuff. So I have probably from around before what was it? The Strike File. What was it? The Legion storyline, the Onslaught. I got into the Onslaught storyline, so I have all that. I have a lot of books.
So you had originally said you were drawn to the artists, right? And you mentioned Jim Lee and Michael Turner. Now I know Jim Lee's still around, and he still does do covers and things like that. But in this pull list of 20 series, let's say, are those 20 derived from the artists involved in those 20, or how did you get to those 20?
No, those are from the stories. So I love ASM. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So I've always picked up Spider-Man. I really got into like Superior Spider-Man, and I got into that whole storyline. Thor. Loved Donny Cates' run on Thor.
So yeah, that's what I get to. So when we talked to Nick, he always talked about his favorite writers. I hear Donny Cates a lot. I hear Jonathan Hickman a lot. Right. I hear Chip Zdarsky is the other one I hear a lot.
Yes, love Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah, and
the Daredevil run, love it.
Well, Nick was telling me he's doing both Daredevil and Batman, and they're both phenomenal. He's telling me
and that's one of the reasons why I picked up Batman. I actually got in on when Tom King was doing it.
Okay, I don't know Tom
James
King.
Tynion did it.
Okay, I've heard of James. I know James Tynion.
And he was doing Batman for a while too. And then Zdarsky just came on board, I think, about a year ago or so, maybe 2 years ago. So yeah, I just kind of gravitated. The characters really just stand out to me, is what it's been. So like, I guess more or less too, it's the collecting aspect.
Yeah.
Since I come from the card side of things, I gravitate towards some of the variant covers. I gravitate toward the artists. Like, so for like Art Germ, love Art Germ, love Warren Lau. I love, in fact, I follow, and David Mack, another one. Yeah, definitely.
You know what an artist I really love. So again, and this is not to try and sound snobby, like I just don't know modern comics very well. Sure. So I don't know a lot of the modern artists, but one artist I love, and I follow him on Instagram because I love when he just posts like his video of him just like drawing or painting, or is Steven Segovia. Have you heard of him?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh man, I just love that. Like so my favorite character is Silver Surfer, and I also
Okay.
collect Marvel cards. And
Right.
there's this card that he has that he did the art, and it's from a comic actually,
Mm.
um, and it's by him, and it is my. I'll send it. I'll send you a picture after we
Yeah.
jump when we're done here, just so
Yeah,
you
that'd be cool.
his that this depiction of it's just so it's my favorite. It's
Nice.
incredible, and all of his stuff that he does, whether it's Silver Surfer or not, is incredible. And I can watch him like color in his sketches for hours if I wanted. Like he's the one guy I can think of. But yeah, who else do you like? I like hearing. I always like to learn about since I don't know the modern game, like who all people are into.
I love Scotty Young.
Hmm.
I love that style he does.
What would you
Josh,
classify that style?
it's so wow. I guess it's like a kitty kind of style, but it's very cartoony, I
Yeah,
guess.
I imagine it's a style you either love and
Right.
you're very into, or you're like, not my jam. I'm not doing any. I'm not messing with
Right. And there was a guy that he reminds me of is Mike Kunkel. Have you ever heard of him?
that. Mm-mm.
He worked on this book called Hero Bear and the Kid.
I've never
If
even
you've
heard of that.
never read it, it's phenomenal.
Huh?
And it's about
Is that an indie?
yeah, it's an old book. It's not he didn't I don't think he publishes it anymore. He did publish it for a while, but the gist is this kid goes to live with his uh, parents, and his grandfather dies, and his grandfather has this hero bear, and the hero bear comes to life,
Huh?
and they have these adventures, and like there's a robot they fight, and it's really cool. And the art style is very much like Scotty's.
Okay.
And I actually met Mike at a show, and I think I've posted it, but I have a book that he did, and with art style and all that stuff, and have him signed. And then I think I have like a poster type thing that he signed with the Hero Bear on it.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'll have to look that up because I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, Hero Bear and the Kid. It's a super cool book. I think can't remember what else he did, but it was his own book. He published it the whole night, like sort of like Jeff Smith and Bone,
Okay.
basically same kind of concept. And Bone, love Bone. God,
Do
that's
you
like
still have those? Do you
yeah.
have like the original run of Bone?
Oh yeah, absolute.
So like first print, those are like massively valuable.
Some of them, yes. I unfortunately did not get into it until after that first print became
Ah,
ridiculously expensive.
okay.
So I do have a third print of number 3, which is cool. And I have it signed by Jeff, and there's a little remark of Bone on it.
Yeah,
I posted
JP, he does a lot of like the antique store kind of thing, finding
that. Mhm.
things that he can then sell and then buy something that he wants. And I know one of his biggest finds, he found a second print of Bone 1. I think it was a second
Wow,
print of Bone 1.
that's
And
huge.
and I think a second print of Bone 2, if I remember
Ooh,
correctly.
those are both huge.
Yeah, and he sold them and did well for himself on those.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Yeah.
I have. I think where I started out getting first prints was issue 6. So
Okay.
issue 6, probably on from there that are all first print.
Can you actually, since we're on this topic, I know nothing about Bone, right? I'm almost strictly Marvel, and then I do love Batman. I do love
Sure.
Superman.
Right.
Can you tell me what is the Bone? What is it even about? Like, what is the kind of general premise?
Okay, so Bone is about these characters named they're Bone. They're called Bone. So they're Phony Bone, Fonsible P Bone, which is this guy that is the mayor, and then Phone Bone. Phony Bone is like a just like a kid, like a guy that's just living life. He just wants to get through life, and he's really happy go lucky. Phone Bone is the smart one of the group, and Fonsible P Bone is the one that is in trouble. So what happens is they get run out of Boneville. They live in Boneville, and they get run out of it because of Responsible P-Bone being like a crazy megalomaniac.
Mm.
And he gets in trouble and they get knocked out. They get blown out of Boneville, and they end up in this valley of these humans who have this problem of like these weird wizard type people that are trying to find the one with the star, which is Responsible P-Bone. And it's kind of like it's like medieval and sorcery with wholesome and like a town and this just awesome art.
Is it a still current run or is it done?
No, he stopped doing it, I think probably in the late 2000s.
Okay.
Or early 2000s. Yeah. But it's awesome. If I can find a, I think I have one. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me grab this if I can find it. Kirby. Maybe I don't have it in here. Batman. I got some bones somewhere. Oh wait. You know what? I'll just show you this. Here you go. There's my limited edition pen set.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely recognize that, and, like, the trademark is, like, everyone knows that trademark.
Yep. And this is, 1401 of 2500.
Oh, cool.
It is signed by Jeff Smith right there.
Yeah, very cool.
And it'll tell you right on the back.
There you go.
Yep. And yeah, it was such a good story. My daughter loves it. My son read it. Like everybody that I know that I talk about it with, they're like, "Oh yeah, I love Bone. Bone was just awesome." It's one of the first independents that I just gravitated toward. Another one to check out around that time, or maybe a little bit after, was Rob Schrab, is his name, and the comic book is called Scud, the Disposable Assassin.
I know of Scud. I think JP also found a Scud at an antique store. But like that cover of Scud, everyone's seen that cover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scud is awesome because it's hilarious. So basically, it's an assassin that comes from a vending machine that learns that if he kills his victim, he'll blow up. So he does everything in his power to keep his victim alive.
But he's an assassin.
Huh?
But he's an assassin.
Correct. That's it. That's the hook.
All right.
And it was amazing. I actually have a signed drawing of that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Since you also just brought it up, you talked about your daughter reading Bone, your son reading Bone. Is your family into comics?
My daughter was for a while. My son kind of liked Yokai Watch. He used to like Sonic, but now he's more into video games. I think he's playing Pokemon Arceus right now.
Okay. Is he a Pokemon card collector?
Oh yeah, he does collect those. Yes, in fact, I have helped him put together a pretty amazing collection.
That's a world, like, it's a perfect example of when we're in this comic community, we can kind of think like it's big, like there's a lot of us, like it's huge,
right?
And then you're like, we are a speck on a page. What do you compare us to the Pokemon world?
Oh, like, absolutely.
I mean, it's just world. Yeah, exactly, or even the sports card world, 100%. Yeah. So like, as big as we are, like, it's just we're actually a very small community in relative to Pokemon, sports cards. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah. It's funny too, because like I know a lot of people who are into Marvel, but the way they pay for Marvel is that they turn Pokemon.
Right.
And I mean, huge money into it.
Yep, there is. With him, I just let him collect it. He doesn't really sell it. Unless he's got doubles of something he really wants to get rid of, I'll help him take that to the LCS or whatever. But for the most part, he just collects it.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
And I mean, he's young. He doesn't need to worry about anything else
right.
besides just having fun with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But my daughter, she's more into video games as well. So comic books really aren't her thing. She does do like she was reading an online comic for a while. I know that.
Mhm.
And she really got into digital stuff. She does love anime too. And we are actually going to watch we watched Demon Slayer together.
Okay. I don't know
Which,
anime very much, but I think I've heard that name.
that anime, that is a badass anime.
Hmm.
Demon Slayer is dope as hell.
All right. If I'm watching anime, I gotta look that up.
Yes, and Full Metal Alchemist. That's another
Okay.
good
Yeah.
one.
I,
Yeah,
I was gonna say your kids are older than I have young kids.
sure.
And so you'll probably learn this sooner before me, obviously. I do feel like, because I would love if I have three young kids, and I would love if one of them got into it. And like my ideal idea is that the collection I build, it kind of becomes like a legacy kind of thing.
Right.
But as I think what you maybe experienced is like, your daughter was into it for a bit, your son read some of it. I imagine like there'll be an age when they're into it. And then like, just like we did as teenagers, like you get distracted with, let's say for your son, like girls or other things and
Yep.
college. And
Yep.
but then I also feel like it's similar how I came back because I liked this as a kid. It got fun again. They'll have these core memories of like, oh, I used to do that with my dad,
Yes.
and that will bring them back to it. As they're
I
older.
hope so. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly. We don't know, but like that's kind of my theory.
yeah. I mean, a lot of as far as I'm concerned, as far as if like I love the comics, I love the cards, I love to collect them, but if I could get a whole lot of money out of them later in life or whatever, I would be okay with that.
100%. Yeah, if my kids don't get back into it
Right.
when we get to an age, it's like, all right, let's sell it, and wife, let's go on a badass vacation.
Right. Right. Or, pay off your debts or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, this is all just stuff, right?
Absolutely. And you can't take any of it with you.
Nope.
Yeah. And I mean, I also think too, like, just like with collecting, right? Like, you have kids, so you probably have a house that's, fairly decent size.
I do.
As they move on, you don't need the space, and then the space gets smaller, and it's like I got 50 short boxes, and so the need to pare down more happens. And so it's like, yeah, like I pictured at the time way down the line. It's like I don't need this house anymore. I'm in a much smaller place. It's like that's kind of when the time comes. Like, all right, they either take it or it's time to go on vacation with the monies I make off of this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, kind of going back, so you talked about ASM 129 would be a big goal for you in 2024. What other kind of bigger books would you like to have on your radar?
GSX1.
Yeah. Another book I find criminally underrated, like I mean, it's still expensive, don't get me wrong,
Yes.
but like when I see some of the prices for like you can get an 8.0, I feel like for like 2K, and I'm like, how is that book not worth more?
Now that is a good price.
Yeah, that's probably a little overzealous on my end, but like you get what I'm saying. Like I feel like relatively speaking, like I don't
Yeah.
understand how it's not worth
My
more.
problem is I have built my collection in like a 9.4 to 9.8.
That's gonna get very expensive then, my friend.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so therefore, in fact, what's funny is that I didn't even think about it when I first started it. It was so slabs, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have any slabs. And then what happened was I went to a con and I had my Marvel Collectible Classics ASM one,
Uh-huh.
which is the first Venom, which is a reprint of Amazing Spider-Man 300.
Okay.
It's a chromium cover. It's beautiful, and there were only about 3,000 copies of it to
There's more
put out.
9/8s, I feel like, of ASM 300 on the census.
Correct. So, and the fun is that it's easy to get it's pretty easy to get a 9/8 out of it actually,
Mm.
because it is so thick
And
and
rigid.
right, it's rigid. It it's not like, yeah, it's not like the printing of the 300 where that paper was,
Paper,
dull.
the black cover on the back, and
Right, right. And how many people don't get 9/8s?
yeah.
But I took it to a con, and I should have had Todd McFarlane sign it because he worked on the book. But one of my friends was like, "Hey, why don't you have Mike Zeck sign it? He worked on Secret Wars." And
I
I'm
mean, the
like,
origin of the symbiote suit.
"Right." And I said, "Okay, cool." So I had Mike Zeck sign it, and it came back a 9/8.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, and it's one of my favorite books, and
That's
it's
awesome.
probably one of my most expensive books too.
Okay.
Between that and the Fallout, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
even though
you
that's probably gone way down.
the Fallout, you have the poly bag. Do you have a non-poly, like one that's
No,
graded or anything? Okay.
no, no. That's actually something that I'm thinking about doing as well, because of the fact that we are in this dip where
Mhm.
I could get a 9.4 for a lot cheaper than I could have,
I'm
a year or
shocked.
two ago.
I'm actually shocked how, like, I saw a 9/8
Uh-huh.
today for 11.99.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it's crazy. Like, I do think, like, when I think of, like, the key modern books to get, like, it's Edge of Spider-Verse 2
Yep.
and Invincible 1,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, so GSX 1, ASM 129, anything else on that goal list?
Hmm. Let's see. GSX. Hulk 181,
Mhm.
of course. Yeah.
So we're in the Bronze Age goodness area right here then.
I absolutely just really gravitate toward those books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about, since we're in that area, what about a Marvel Spotlight 5?
Yes. Would love that book.
Yeah.
Would
Uh,
absolutely love that book. In fact, seen that book many times and thought about it, but yeah, way expensive.
yeah.
Even in low grades is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. I have a, I always tell people I've shown it on the channel. I have a 2.5,
Okay.
but it looks, so I got it graded. It came back as a 2.5. The reason it came back as a 2.5 is because someone took a pair of scissors and cut like a slit in
Ooh.
the cover this big. However, now
Um,
it's slabbed. So unless you literally like look up and at that slit, you don't notice it. So it's a 2.5 that looks like a 5.0.
wow.
I could not
You're
care
good.
less. I
You're
I
good.
love it. I'm good. Like for me, that's like I'm into the vintage stuff,
Right.
and like you said, like you have a 9.4 and up collection. Like that's not gonna happen for me when I'm going Silver Age and Bronze Age. Like I don't even. It's not even in the realm of like my logic. Like it's just I'm not even thinking in that area. But I just think about like presents well, and I get a good deal that is in a good value range. So like things like, especially like if I'm getting a big book that's going to get slapped, like a detached cover, for example,
Right.
I'll take that all day. I mean, I know it like marks it all the way down to like, let's say I think a 2.0.
Right.
Could care less. Like in that slab, I'll take a FF48 in a 2.0 detached cover like all day.
The I guess yeah, low grade is better than no grade is what they say, right?
Yeah.
Um I think that I'm definitely starting to think about that as well,
Yeah.
because I do have, like I said, 9.4 collection going on. Um and the only really big book in a 9.4 that I guess I would have as far as like a Bronze Age key would be like the Avengers 100 I have.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a yellow cover. It's in a 9.4. It might even be, I don't know. I don't know if it's pressable or not. Probably not. But I don't even know. There's a few books that I have that I look at them and go, well, that's pressable.
Mhm.
Like I just got recently a Spider-Man Noir. Now that's a newer book,
Yeah.
Spider-Man Noir #1, and I love that book. In fact, today I posted the animation variant of Venom 9, which
Okay.
is Spider-Man Noir, and I really liked that character. And I got the book and I look at it, and I think it could probably be pressed. It's a 9.0, so it could be pressed and get a 9.4, but I'd have to crack it, all that jazz.
Yeah,
Not
I
one of
do you
those
do a
guys.
lot of do you do a lot of grading on your own, or do you just buy the slab?
I've done a little bit of grading, but most of it I buy. Yeah.
Yeah, I've graded 4 books, one of them actually being that Marvel Spotlight 5 I've talked about, and it's not that it's like a hard process, I just don't love it because you gotta send it to somebody because I don't clean it. Do you clean and press your books or anything?
No.
Yeah, same. So it's like you gotta send it somewhere to get clean and pressed, and then they gotta send it to CGC, and then it's gonna be 4 to 6 weeks at CGC, and it's just like I don't love it, and it's not cheap. And every time I think about, okay, I'm gonna grade this book, I'm like, I feel like depending on the book, if it's a modern book, we'll say it's $80 to grade. If it's a vintage book, we'll call it closer to 150. I always think it's like when that adds, I'm like, that's a ton of great books I could buy instead of
Right.
I'll just grade these later. And it's
Right.
just like it's so. And for me, I don't when I buy if I'm looking for GSX1, do I care if it's slabbed or my current copy is actually raw? Now, if I'm buying raw, I do want to trust the dealer because I don't want to make sure that there's no like restoration and things like that. But otherwise, for me, I will buy whatever the value comes in at. Like if the deal I find happens to be graded, awesome. If the deal I find happens to be raw, couldn't care less. And
Right.
in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna grade this, but I keep pushing that off.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a ton of books I could probably grade.
Yeah.
I have so I've been getting into we were just talking about. I have a Marvel Spotlight, the one with Ant-Man, the one with
42,
yes, I think that might be it.
the first Scott Lang.
The first Scott Lang, and it's beautiful. Like I got it from my LCS, and it's probably a very fine. If it had a press, it probably hit. I think it might hit a 9.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe a 9.4, which would be great because it would go perfectly in my collection.
Yeah.
But I have like some modern books. Like I have Darth Vader 3 with Dr. Aphra. I have yeah, I've been and like the Wolverine one I got a really good copy from Rage. And it maybe I could hit a 9 on that. So
Yeah.
there are some things I probably when I start paring down things, which I don't know. Maybe I'll do a claim sale. I've been thinking about that as well. There's a lot of thoughts I've had. It's just work and time and, you know, doing those things.
Oh, yeah, and then, I mean, you gotta think about the time and work it's gonna take. If you do a claim sale,
Right.
let's just say you do a 2-hour claim sale and you are able to sell throughout that 2 hours, you
Right.
probably got 6 hours of packaging and shipping and
Yes.
invoicing and
Yes.
yeah,
And
that's
I'm
why
not Rage CEO and can't do it in an entire night.
well, yeah, like, we've had Rage on the show, we've had several
Yeah.
dealers on the show, especially the ones that do and, like, that's always a question I ask is, like, you do 1 sale a week.
Right.
But that one sale, you have the amount of time you sell for, let's just say,
Right.
and I
Right.
feel like a lot of those guys, they'll sell for like 4 hours on a night.
I mean, Rage can, but he's actually broken it down now and whatnot. He only does about an hour.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is, right, let's just say if they do 1 night a week,
Oh,
they've
sure.
gotta spend the time it takes to get new inventory, then
Correct.
they've gotta price them,
Yep.
then they gotta pack them, then they gotta like, that one show a week still leads to a week's worth of work.
Oh, absolute.
Yeah,
Absolute. And then sometimes he'll throw an IG sale in there,
yeah,
and that's a whole nother ball game. Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's where you'll talk about he'll probably sell for 2 or 3 hours at least.
Yeah, it was interesting when we talked to him because he was like, "My wife works during the day, so I can get the kids in the day." He's
Right.
like, and then we flip,
Right.
and then I do the selling, and I was like, "Oh, that's great. It works. They got a great balance there."
Yeah, they do for sure. And then he's got a kid on the way too.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, congrats
Yeah.
to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He, like I said, I really, him and Mikey are probably two of my favorite people on Instagram.
Is Mikey's? I'm not sure if I follow. Is it Mikey's Comics? You said.
It was Mikey's Comics, but he and Havoc Comics or Havoc Collectibles bought a shop in Totally Awesome Comics. He's Totally Awesome Comics now.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to look that up after we get off here because I don't think I follow that one.
Mabane, they're in Mabane, North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah. I'll definitely look them up.
And they actually do a sale on Thursday nights
on Instagram or whatnot, or
on Instagram.
I gotta tell you, it is crazy. Like Wednesday night, Thursday night, you know, you go on Instagram at like 7, 8 o'clock at night. There are like 12 live sales going on. It is
sometimes, yes,
craziness.
Depending on who you're following, but yes,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Like Comic Uprising, I bought some stuff from him at one point, and I've talked to a lot of sellers on IG and had really good luck and really good sellers. Period.
Yeah, I tell people, like, especially so like as I'm into the Marvel card side of things.
Sure.
And they're not as prevalent on Instagram, especially on the selling side.
Right.
And so a lot of them will try to dip into comics and they'll talk to me about it. And, you know, they're like, well, I only know to buy them on eBay. And I'm like, dude, F eBay. Like,
right.
If you want to buy comics, and I try to tell them, like, this is what we need to develop with the card community. Like, the best place to buy is Instagram. One, like you said, you develop relationships with the sellers,
right?
Which just makes a way better experience when you're buying your comic book. Plus, you know, and trust who you're buying. Like, you buy from, like you said, Rage, you know that book's going to come packaged properly.
Absolutely.
It's going to be on time. You don't worry about it at all. With eBay, some random Jamoki, you have no idea what you're going to get. Like, I've had, when I first started buying it, like, people have sent me books. Like, the first Hulk 340 I got, it was sent to me in an envelope with no padding. Like, and that's what you get sometimes. And it's like, that's not going to happen when I buy for someone I know on Instagram.
Right.
Not to mention, you're going to get the better deal because they don't have to deal with eBay fees. And then, you know, they're always willing to, like, make deals, negotiate. They know you, you know them. So it's like, you know, it works both ways. Like,
yeah,
if you're buying comics, it's the #1 spot to buy comics. I mean, obviously, unless you're like going after, you know, Batman 1, you got to go to Heritage or something like that.
Like, who's got that kind of cash?
I think there are people, but not me, not you. But
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, though. For like what we're doing, like,
right.
Instagram is where it's at. So
absolutely, I agree with that. I agree with that 100. I definitely think that, like I said, like we talked about how small the community is, and but everybody is so tight knit. Like, everybody really, you know, talks to each other and looks out for each other. Like, this whole thing with what happened with Epic and all that jazz.
Yeah. When there's someone that, like, there's a scam, it's like everyone's posting about it. I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So I really appreciate that. And like I said, Mikey. So it's Mikey and Havoc, or I think his name is Mark. Mikey and Mark. They have shop in Mabane, North Carolina. Totally Awesome Comics. They've been around now, I think, about 2 years, 3 years, something like that. But they're awesome. He'll always, like, he'll send me things and say, hey, I remember you wanted this book, like, and I'll be like, oh, you have that? So, like, I'll be like, yeah, throw that in my list or whatever. Yeah.
Another thing that you would not get on an eBay.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Unless, now, I did have a seller that where I got my Venom run. I bought the whole Venom run, like 1 through, I think it was 10 at the time, or 1 through 7 or something like that. This guy was, I think, I still have him on my eBay. He like messaged me and was like, hey, I have these books and I can make this list for you and things like that. But that was rare. That is
I shouldn't say there are definitely some fantastic sellers on eBay.
Sure.
Fantastic.
Right.
But again, it is still it's a crapshoot depending because there's so many.
It's getting better too, because here's the thing: eBay now is there's an eBay Live now.
I get the pop-up. I never have actually jumped on it, but I do have seen like the notification pop up or whatever.
I tried to do it with because Skeleton Key, so that's
Mhm.
another really great seller. Skeleton Key was on there, and they were doing their eBay Live. I couldn't get into it for some reason. Either the update or something wasn't working properly. But they do eBay Live sales now, and
Huh.
that's definitely competing with Whatnot.
Interesting. Yeah, I've barely scraped into the Whatnot. Like,
Right.
the most experience I've really had on Whatnot is there's a fellow channel, Ryan Colossus Collector, and he's become a good buddy. And he had a bunch of us. We watched a seller that I have gotten a ton of my books from on IG that does Whatnot sales, and we watched it on a Friday night. I
Mhm.
was shocked about how fast those books go, man, on those
Oh,
Whatnot sales.
absolutely. Yeah, they put them
It's
up, and like it's like, and here's the thing: some of them go for some crazy amounts of money, where you would definitely not got that price out of eBay.
yeah. I mean, the way he ran it, it was like 20 seconds per book, and then
Right.
if someone upped it, it just reset to 10 seconds. And like, I mean, he was just churning and burning through these.
Yeah,
I was
totally.
crazy, and I was like, man, you could get into some serious trouble on this site.
Yeah, yeah. I bought a lot of Spawn off there one time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can
yeah,
get. I mean, you can go down some serious weird rabbit holes with like cards. They have them
yeah.
all cards.
I've not checked out, but I do know a lot of card guys are on Whatnot as
Yep,
well.
yep. In fact, like so for me, some sports guy, like there are people breaking open boxes and showing cards.
Yeah,
I did find one where I bought like a slabbed card of like a Royals player, because I'm a Royals fan, of some Royal that wasn't a Royal very long. It's a PSA 10, but it was like $8.
yeah,
So yeah, it can get real expensive too. I mean, yeah. And the fun is that with Whatnot, and I guess eBay probably as well, um, it charges your card or charges
yeah.
whatever
That's why I
you
heard, like you
do
have it on file essentially,
right
and you
there. Right there. You don't even think about it. It tells you the shipping. What's the smart thing to do is to try to buy multiple items from the seller,
yeah,
because
that
that shipping will go way down.
yeah, for sure.
And so he'll have it at like $4, and you buy like 5 books, and by the time you're buying those 5 books, you're not even paying shipping anymore.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Right on. Well, Brandon, this has been awesome. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and chatting with us. Thanks for coming on, man.
it was fun. I appreciate it so much. Like I said, this community is awesome, and it's cool to talk to you. It's cool to put the name with the face, and because you don't usually post your face a lot.
No, on my I'm on the YouTube a lot, obviously, but my
Right.
face is not often on my IG. Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is fine. I get that.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's great. It's great to talk to somebody that likes the same things I do. So
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Is there anywhere else people can find you besides Instagram at TechGeek200? Anywhere else you want to say?
So far, I'm just on Instagram. At some point, I might dive into the YouTube thing,
Yeah.
but I actually do have a channel. I don't have anything on it other than like some videos I think I watched or something like that.
Okay.
So it's not a real channel. So like people are asking me like, are you gonna? Is there any videos? No, I don't have any videos. They're all
One day though.
yes.
Yeah.
I have been on Nerdy Girls YouTube before. I have been on Chaos Comics and Chaos
Okay.
with Rage and One True Nerd King.
Yeah, yeah, Phil.
Yeah, Phil. And I've been on Mikey's comics before too, and Comic Uprising. I did a live with them on IG one time.
Right on. Awesome. Well, yeah. Everyone, make sure to check out Brandon. Thanks again for coming on. Thanks for listening. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace
Take care,
out.
man. Peace out.